Everton 0, Manchester United 3. And in Everton's first game since their 10-point deduction due to breaking the Premier League sustainability rules, they lose 3-0 and stay in the relegation zone. I mean, it's looking like dark, dark times for Everton, to be honest, guys. I mean, you look at them and you think like there's a real squad that could be galvanized. I mean, they've got the qualities to definitely stay in the Premier League. There's no two ways about it. I mean, if you look at them, right, they were on 14 points before the deduction came in. So they're not a relegation team in that respect. But that relegation, it can go that 10-point deduction, it can go one of two ways for Everton now. They can either take that on the chin and really bring the squad together and push on from it, just like Man City did last year when all the charges came dumped on their head, or it could actually plummet them and do the worst possible thing. You saw how the Everton fans reacted at the start of the game. That was one of the most toxic atmospheres I think I've ever seen at our football club. And rightfully so. They all held their placards up saying the Premier League is corrupt. All of them with their pink placards. They did the right thing. The fans were behind them. The fans were behind the players. Unfortunately for them, the result just didn't quite go their way today. I know Everton lost 3-0, and if anyone tunes into this reaction and thinks, oh, Everton got absolutely destroyed by Manchester United today, yes, the scoreline might show that, but anyone that watched the games know that it didn't really go that way. Everton, I'm not going to say with a better team because they got pumped 3-0, but they had good chances. Like, if you purely look at the attempts for both teams, it was a very even game. Everton had way more chances. They just could not put the ball in the back of net. Like, Everton had a better chance of solving world peace than scoring today. Let's be completely honest about it. They never looked like scoring. It's like they had a curse on the goal. I mean, you've got players like Dominic Calvert-Lewin, Doucouré, etc., Jack Harrison, but none of them have that clinical edge to their game. None of them. Because you got to look at some of the chances that Everton had today, even Garner Gay having some chances. And you're thinking, you've got to put the ball in the back of net. This was Everton's problem from the start of the season, the very start, not finishing their dinner. They've improved on it in recent weeks, to be honest with you guys. I thought they were much better at converting their chances. For example, going away to Brentford, they had one of their best attacking performances I've seen all season. But again today, the same old Everton. Chances are there, shots are there, but not putting the ball in the back of net and down the other end of the pitch. Giving away too many chances, man. The first goal, what can we say? You hold your hands up, goal of the season. Goal of the season by Alejandro Garnacho. I've not seen a goal that good in the flesh for a long, long time. A long, long time. That was a goal that you will watch over and over again. Garnacho is showing that goal to his kids. I promise that for an absolute fact. That goal is so good. Like the way Diego Dallo whips in and Garnacho. And guys, I know obviously Wayne Rooney scored a similar goal, but South Americans are the only players that can score these type of goals, really. Let's be real about it. Plus, you got a bit of the Portuguese man that can do it, but they're basically South American in my eyes. The way he's able to contort his body mid-air so that he's basically parallel with the ground and still has his right foot up to shoot across goal. And not only does he get a connection on the ball, it flies in the top uppermost corner. It is a superb finish by Alejandro Garnacho. I haven't seen a goal like it in recent seasons. Genuinely, such a good goal from him, man. I feel like we've lacked those sort of goals in the Premier League, to be honest with you guys. I know obviously we had the Wayne Rooney bicycle kick, we've had the Olivier Giroud and Mkhitaryan scorpion kicks, but we rarely see real goals like that in the Premier League. We've seen long-range screamers and stuff like that, but a real bicycle kick, a goal of technical brilliance, and Garnacho supplied that. And look, if there was ever a time for Man United to score, it was right then, because you saw the narrative leading into this game. Everton, 10-point deduction, fans are galvanized. You can see the atmosphere before the game. It's a cauldron within Goodison Park. And Man United do exactly what they wanted. Score from the 3rd minute to silence the crowd a little bit, give themselves a bit more confidence in the game, and then go from there. Another player I want to give a massive shout out to as well, other than Alejandro Garnacho, and for me, to be honest, was man of the match, bar Garnacho's goal, was the new boy, Kobbie Mainoo, or Mainoo, however you pronounce his name. Kobbie Mainoo, however you pronounce his name. What a young player he looks like, man. What a young player. Now, obviously, he's coming to the team, and I believe he actually played for Man United last year a little bit before he got injured, unfortunately, had an ankle injury. He came in today, and this brother was on it from minute one. I loved everything about his game. Kobbie Mainoo, loved it. The little things as well. The fact that, obviously, as I said before, this is a tough game for Manchester United, coming into the Everton Goodison Park cauldron, but he kept his cool. He kept his confidence, made a goal line clearance early on in the game as well. But everything about him was calm and assured, assassin-like mentality. Not out here with all the emotion and jumping around, screaming around like Bruno Fernandes does and plays like this. Everything about him was cold, calm and measured. Barely broke a sweat. the assassin type level. He was just calm, business-like approach. And I love to see that from the young kid, man. I think Roy Keane would love that from him as well, knowing Roy Keane's personality and his attitude. So yeah, United got a real star on their hands in Kobe Mainoo. I thought he had a superb game in the midfield today alongside Scott McTominay. To be fair, I think a lot of Man United players played really well today. A lot of them. And I've been very critical of Man United players, to be honest with you guys. I thought Maguire had a really good game. Lindelof next to him was good. Diego Dallo had a superb game. Luke Shaw, good to see him get back into the Man United team, especially after his injuries. Like I said, McTominay and Kobe Mainoo played really well. Fernandes went kind of missing, but he obviously helped United along the way. Rashford obviously got his penalty, which will be good for his confidence. Martial scored as well, good for his confidence. And of course, Garnacho got the goal. So yeah, I think Man United a superb day in the office, because a lot of people going into this game would have expected Man United to lose it. Everyone would have thought it. It makes sense. It's how the script would go. Everton 10-point deduction, their first game back, a rocking Goodison Park. Man United players don't quite have the personality and the character to deal with it. Everton win this game. The script was set in stone, but Man United altered it with their performance. So you have to give them a heap of credit. And for no matter how bad Manchester United have been this season, they still are in the top 6 right now. They're not that far off the pace, not that far whatsoever. Look, I said Manchester United will get into the top 4 this season, and I'm not changing my mind just yet. Obviously, Aston Villa have looked good and Tottenham have obviously looked good as well, bar their injuries. But my top 4 has been Arsenal, Man City, Liverpool, Manchester United. And I don't see a reason to change it right now. Manchester United have got the quality in their squad. They do. And we know Marcus Rashford getting this goal today could give him some confidence because he needs that. Marcus Rashford was one of Manchester United's best players last season. But not just Manchester United's best players. In my eyes, one of the Premier League's best players last season. He got them the 20 goals a season that every top team craves for. You could not win a Premier League title without getting 20 goals a season. That's why I'm pushing so heavy for Arsenal to sign a striker in January, because I know how important goals are to winning big championships and big titles. Manchester United have that in Marcus Rashford. He's proved it before. They just need him to get that form from last year. Now, there's been this stat, apparently. I don't know how true it is, but Marcus Rashford, when he broke up with his girlfriend, he went on a scoring drought. And apparently they've got back together, and then apparently that means he's going to go on a scoring run again. Now, obviously, that's all for Manchester United fans to talk about and all this and all that. I don't worry about the stats. I worry about what I see on the football pitch. And Rashford wasn't great today. I don't think he was, but he was playing out of position on the right-hand side, of course. But he got a penalty, and who knows, man? It can give you that little bit of confidence. As a striker, goals are just as important no matter how you get them. Long-range screamers, tap-ins, or penalties like that. And for Manchester United fans, they need to hope that Marcus Rashford can kick on from here and keep going forwards, because they've got a massive game in midweek at God's side. Massive, massive game. I will be watching it. And to be honest, I want God's side to win. I'm not gonna say otherwise. I do want God's side to win that match. But Manchester United got to keep kicking forwards from here, because who knows, man? They can still get into the top 4 for an absolute fact and push on further. Let's get into some of your comments. And if you are new around, make sure you do subscribe on my road to 5,000 subscribers. Let me know your thoughts in live chat. And if you want to keep up to date with Premier League, Champions League match reactions, make sure you hit the bell notification down below so you never miss them. Jordy, appreciate you joining the stream. My friend, up doing really well. How are you, the lads? Yes, and Newcastle, fantastic win yesterday over Chelsea as well. 4-1 victory. Well deserved as well. And Newcastle kicking onwards as well. Here's the Premier League right now, guys, man. You've obviously got the Arsenal, Man City, and Liverpool's. Manchester United will always be here and there, because obviously they've got the big club status and will be always around fighting for it. Then you've got Aston Villa, Newcastle, Tottenham, Chelsea as well. So the Premier League's wide open, guys. Wide open, especially for the top 4 in Europe race. RD12, appreciate you joining the stream, my friend. That was the goal by Garnacho still, but I thought United caught live today. Yeah, the Garnacho goal, absolutely fantastic. Absolutely pinpoint accuracy. Unbelievable goal, man. I can't take it away from him. But I do agree with you. Manchester United, they were under the cosh today. They were. But they survived, and that's the main thing, right? Like, you can say, oh, they survived and, oh, they got away with it. But Everton really should have scored. Really should have scored today. Like, they had so many chances. I made the point earlier. Everton had a better chance of solving world peace than scoring today. They could not put the ball in the back of net for whatever reason. It was not going in. And they had the players on the pitch. It's not like they were missing Calvert-Lewin today. Like, he was on the pitch. They just can't put that ball in the back of net. I'd love to see the XG. I would have loved to see it. I guarantee it's at least 1.5 or 1.6 for Everton. They definitely should have bagged today, man. 100%. But Man United, for the most part, were resolute. And I thought they stood up and were counted. They didn't fold. Obviously, if they're 1-0 up and Everton make it 1-1, who knows what happens from there. But that's the if, buts, and maybes, to be honest with you guys, because the main thing is they didn't concede. And that's the main thing for Manchester United. Keep the game tight, don't concede, and then try and hit them on the counter-attack. It was an away day masterclass for Manchester United. Came with a clean sheet, 3 goals, 3 different goal scorers. Happy days for Eric Ten Hag and the United fans. They trot back to Manchester, basically going east from Liverpool. Delighted, as they should be, as they absolutely should be. Got a massive game of midweek, as I've said, in Istanbul. If you get a win there, your Champions League hopes stay alive. And then you obviously got another game on the weekend in the Premier League. So for Manchester United, right, it's not been a good season so far. Absolutely not. Let's not mince our words about it. There's been off the pitch issues just as much as there has been on the pitch issues with Manchester United. But they're still in an okay position. And that's the main thing, right? They're keeping afloat. That's the big thing about the Premier League, because we're not in the crunch period right now. Obviously, there's not going to be an international break until March. So if there's a time to build momentum and build form, it is right now in the Premier League. But we've not hit the crunch moment just yet. But there is a time now to start gaining momentum. Now is where we sort out the pretenders from the contenders. And Manchester United right now have basically been playing hurdles. They jump over a hurdle, then they stumble over the next one. They hop over the other hurdle, then they stumble again. It's win a couple games, then lose in horrendous fashion. Win a couple, then lose. That's been Man United's story of the season so far. They can't quite string together consecutive games to build up really good momentum and start firing up the table. Because right now they're having false starts. But this is a good type of win, man. It's a really good win for Manchester United. They've had these wins before. They beat Fulham, for example. Superb victory against them. But of all those wins, they've also got bad games in their locker. Brighton, for example. Poor game. And we know that will happen again for Manchester United. They're not going to be void of bad performances. I'm not going to say it was a bad performance today, but they weren't. It wasn't a 3-0 game. Now, let's be real about it right now. This wasn't a 3-0 game. Manchester United, they got a little bit lucky today. A little bit. I'm not going to say it was complete luck, because it wasn't. Like, you have to, 100%. The score is definitely dictated a little bit by performance as well. But you have to ride your luck at times as well. And Manchester United did that. I thought Everton, if anything, were the ones that weren't putting the ball in the back of net, more than Manchester United being the ones to stop them. But at the same time, it doesn't matter. You just find a way to win. And Manchester United did exactly that. 5 shots on target and 0 goals for Everton. There we go. And even if you look at the shots not on target, the off-target shots, they were fantastic opportunities as well. Like, this wasn't Everton just taking pot shots from outside the box. I mean, we can pull up the stats right now. I might as well, while I'm here, pull up the stats for Manchester United versus Everton. Let me share my screen right now to show you guys. Share screen. Here we go. Manchester United. Share screen. Has that done it? Nope. Okay, share screen. Share. Why is it not letting me share screen, man? Okay, for some reason it's not letting me share my screen, but I'll share it later. The point is, Everton had 24 shots today. 24 shots, and not one of them was going in the back of net. Like, you've got to look at yourself sometimes and go, we got to look like this is on us. This ain't on Man United defending well. This is on us. Like, how can you have 24 shots? You're looking at 6 of them on target, 51% of the possession, and you're not one of them's going in the back of net. Like, not one of them. I genuinely don't get it sometimes. Like, Everton, at the start of the season, this was their problem. Everton, for the past few years, has been their problem. Not putting the ball in the back of net consistently enough. They were fixing it in recent weeks. I was actually commending them for their performances against Brentford, for example, where they were able to score 3 goals away from home and look really solid on there, especially on the counter-attack. But today, again, nothing like basically what we've expected from Everton at the start of the season. Not putting the ball in the back of net. They've got themselves to blame, man. I thought they were going to be much better, Everton. Much, much better. Because at the end of the day, right, goal's the name of the game. If you don't put the ball in the back of net, you ain't going to win many Premier League matches. And that's been the case for Everton. How did they let Onana take a clean sheet? Bro, that's beyond me as well, man. That's absolutely beyond me. United now 6th position and we dropped to 7th. And that's the thing, right? Newcastle have had technically a good season so far. A good season. Whereas Manchester United with a bad season, basically overtaken them. And that's crazy to think. Absolutely crazy to think. So I think, to be honest with you guys, right? We got to give Onana, what's it called? Eric Ten Hag some credit, because this has not been easy for them. Not been easy one bit, but they've been able to keep afloat one way or another and keep the ship pushing in the right direction. And for Manchester United, that's the main thing. Like I said, they sit in 6th. They're 24 points. They're 6 points off Arsenal. For Manchester United's absolute capitulation of a season so far, they sit 6 points off Arsenal, the league leaders. Like, if an alien came down to planet Earth, right, and watched both teams play football so far this season, I'm talking not even both teams. If you watch Arsenal, if you watch every Premier League team this season and judge where they'd be, Manchester United have had some horror shows, absolute horror shows. Brighton at home, for example, horror show, man. Losing in the last minute to Arsenal with 2 goals. terrible. Against Tottenham, terrible. Yet they still, somehow, someway, Man City at home, terrible performance. Yet still, somehow, someway, they sit 6 points off Arsenal. 6 points off Arsenal. They sit, if I'm not mistaken, 4 points off the top four. 4 points off Liverpool, their bitter rivals. So for all the bad performances Manchester United have had this season, they're not even doing that bad. If you look at their position in the table, they can recover this. So yeah, I think Manchester United got to keep pushing in the right direction. Manchester United also, let's not forget, guys, in my lifetime at least, Manchester United have never, ever, I can remember, finished below 6. Other teams, that's happened. I remember when Liverpool used to be bad. They used to finish below Everton consistently. Arsenal finished 8th in the past. Tottenham obviously have fallen off. Man City were nothing before the oil money. Equally, Chelsea were barely anything before the money from Abramovich. So teams before have been bad. Manchester United, I can never ever remember consistently finishing badly. They finished minimum 6 in the table, minimum. I've never seen a Man United team miss out on Europe. It does not happen. So Manchester United got a lot of expectation on their shoulders, a lot of it. Yes, their squad isn't as good enough as Man City's. It's not as good enough as Arsenal or Liverpool's. But they are Manchester United. There is nowhere to run. There is nowhere to hide. Like, you're going to have the media on your back 24/7, and rightfully so. You are the biggest club in England. And that's why you need to perform week in, week out. And performances like this, give them credit for it. Because yes, it wasn't the greatest performance. And yes, many will look at it and go, Everton were the ones that lost it rather than Manchester United winning the game. But you still have to go out there and get the victory. And United did exactly that. Aideen, appreciate you joining the stream, my friend. I'm doing really well. Don't know what your comment means, but regardless, hope you're enjoying your time here. That's the main thing. But yeah, other people, let me know your thoughts in live chat. I'd love to hear what you're thinking. What else is people's thoughts and feelings regarding Manchester United this season? Who's been a standout performance? Who's to blame? The Glazers, they're still obviously at the forefront of fans' concerns. At the end of the game, they were still singing that they want the Glazers to go. I will give the Manchester United fans a heap of credit week in, week out, because despite the fact that I don't believe the Glazers are the sole reason you are not at the top of your game and where Manchester United should expect to be, they are part of the reason to blame. And you've kept vocal consistently about your distrust and hatred towards the Glazers. And for that, I can only give Manchester United fans a heap of credit. Because while other fan bases like the Arsenal fan base, the Liverpool fan base have stopped really caring about the Kroenkes and FSG respectively, Manchester United fans have consistently kept their narrative against the Glazers. They will not stop until the Glazers, Avram Glazer, etc., Joel Glazer, leave the football club. And for them, you've got to commend them for that. Because, look, do I think the Glazers are the reason Manchester United are not fighting for the title? No. They're one of the reasons, but they're not the sole reason. Because Kroenke ain't the best owner in the world. Arsenal fighting for the title. FSG is not the best owners in the world, and they're still fighting for the title, Liverpool. So owners aren't everything. They're not the be-all and end-all. Yes, they contribute, but not everyone's going to be blessed enough to have Qatari or Arab owners. So you're going to have to, at the end of the day, start looking elsewhere than the owners to start blaming them. And Eric Ten Hag's taking a lot of the blame, rightfully so. I actually am a big fan of Eric Ten Hag. I think he's a really good manager. I think certain decisions he's got wrong, and I think his recruitment's been terrible, to be honest, because he's decided the players. He decided to sign players like Anthony, for example. And that's been one of the worst signings in Manchester United history. Let's be real about it. Anthony's been a flop. He didn't even play today, and they won 3-0. Coincidence? I think not. So I think he's got to take a lot of blame for that, Eric Ten Hag, in that respect. But also, you've got to look at some of the players as well. Marcus Rashford, nowhere near the form of last season. Nowhere near. Martial, he scored today, but he's been crap. This is his first Premier League goal this season. Obviously, we know that Højlund's been taking over for him. Bruno Fernandes, basically missing today. Non-existent. He needs to sort out his attitude. He was captain. I don't think he's captain material. I think Harry Maguire, since he's been in the team, has been good. Same with Victor Lindelof. But if you want to challenge for a title, you're not going to win the title with Victor Lindelof and Maguire being your two centre-backs. Let's be brutally honest about it. Brutally honest. In a league where you've got Saliba and Gabriel, Ruben Diaz and John Stones / Akanji, you've got even Liverpool with Van Dijk and Joel Matip. Do you really think you're going to challenge for the title with Harry Maguire and Victor Lindelof? It ain't happening. Let's be completely honest about it right now, guys. That fact too is not good enough to challenge for the title. You look elsewhere, you look at Diego Dalot at right back. I'm a really big fan of him. I think he's a solid player. Left back Luke Shaw, massive player to come back into the team. Scott McTominay, if he can reinvent his Scotland form, they've got a real player, but he's just a bit hit and miss for Manchester United. He's not a young kid anymore. I thought the new boy, Mainoo, has to start the game in midweek. Has to. He's been superb today. I thought he was really calm and collected. Assassin-type mentality in that midfield. So United have got decent players, but their squad ain't good enough to challenge for the title. So I think he is punching a little bit, Eric Ten Hag. Now, that also is because he's not spent the money right. It's not like they've got a crap squad because they've not spent money.
United have spent money. You spent 100 million on Anthony. You spent 40 million on the goalkeeper, 70 million on the striker. You signed a midfielder in Sofiane Amrabat. The money's been there. It's just not been spent wisely. You spent 100 million on Anthony, man. I keep bringing it up, but in a world where you've got players like Salah signing for like 30, 40 million, etc., you're going to sign a player like Anthony for 100. You could have spent that money so much more wisely. You could have got Maddison for that money plus extra. Maddison, Mickey van der Ven would have been less than the Anthony money. And that would have been a centre-back sorted for you guys to put next to Lisandro Martinez/Varane in Mickey van der Ven. You would have got an attacking midfielder to put next to Bruno Fernandes if you want to, instead of Mason Mount. That's another one. Mason Mount, 65 million. What has he done? You wasted a lot of money this season. Same with the Kai Havertz money at Arsenal. It's not just Manchester United. But here's the thing, right? If you give Manchester United the money they've been given each summer and re-spend the money, they could actually build a super team. They could. Like, genuinely, the money's been there. If I look at Man United's spend, it's probably more than Man City's and Chelsea's over the last decade. They just haven't spent it wisely. So the Glazers are only to blame partially. You still got to look at the boardroom. You still got to look at the players on the pitch and the manager, of course, as well, since he's ultimately the one that picks the signings. But like I said, there's other fish to fry, other problems to make up at Manchester United, but they're still afloat. And that's the main thing. 6 points off the title race. Their goal difference is 0. They've won 8 and they've lost 5. To tell you why they're 6 points off the title race, because they've not drawn any matches so far. Guys, let me tell you this, yeah? Draws are the worst possible thing in football. The absolute worst possible thing in football. Avoid draws at all costs, man. I've said this for a long time. It's like the NBA with three-pointers. Maximize winning or losing. I'm telling you guys for an absolute fact. I would rather, in 3 matches, go for the win in every single match and risk losing them than draw every single match, whatever, 1-1, 2-2, whatever it is. If you don't draw, you're going to do well in this league. I promise you guys, guys, for an absolute fact. It's a myth that you need to draw matches. It's an absolute myth. I hear this statement saying, oh, if you can't win, don't lose. Yeah, obviously, logically, that makes sense. You don't want to lose a football match, but try to win the game. Don't try and get draws. I've seen so many teams go away from home and be happy with the draw. Yes, if you're a team like Everton, for example, or a mid-table team, take the draw. I agree with you 100%. But if you're a big team like an Arsenal, Man City, Liverpool, go for the win. Same with Man United. Go for the win. If you lose, you lose. But go for the win. Draws don't do anything. Man City and Liverpool drew yesterday. That's 1 point. Arsenal won. Bang, 3 points ahead. Man City drew in their last 2 matches against Chelsea away and Liverpool at home. Arsenal won their last 2. Bang, they've leapfrogged them on top of the table. Man United have lost 5 Premier League matches this season. 5 in their opening 13. Yet they're only 6 points off Arsenal. That's 2 wins. If Arsenal lose their next 2 matches and Man United win their next 2, they're level on points of Arsenal. Do you get what I mean? So, look, as long as you don't draw, you're going to do well in this league. Manchester United have lost more games than Newcastle, Brighton, and still sit above them. Still sit above both those teams. So, yeah, I think if you're Manchester United, avoid draws at all costs. They're doing the right thing. They're 100% doing the right thing. So I think they got to definitely keep up with the form they're doing. Keep up with it. Keep going. And if they keep it going this way, Manchester United could fly further up this table. I've said they're going to finish top 4. I'm not changing my mind right now. No reason to stop. No reason to change my mind right now. But this ain't the time, obviously, to get ahead of themselves, Manchester United. Because, like I said, despite that, today's performance wasn't superb. But yeah, let's look at Manchester United's fixtures going forward in the Premier League. So got Goodison midweek, obviously 5:45 p.m. kickoff on Wednesday. I will be streaming on that day for the Arsenal Lens match, which I will be talking about the Man United game during that. So make sure you do subscribe, turn on notifications so you do not miss it. The next game, humongous football match, Newcastle United away from home. That is a 6-pointer. I will be watching that game and streaming after it live on this channel for Newcastle versus Manchester United, Saturday, 2nd of December. Be there or be square. Then they've got Chelsea at home. So then they've got Bournemouth, then Bayern Munich in the Champions League, and then Liverpool away. So United's next 4 Premier League fixtures, bar the Bournemouth game, is tough games. They're all 6-pointers. So they've got to roll their sleeves up, Man United. The games are coming hard now. They've had some friendly fixtures, let's be real about it. Luton Town, Fulham, for example, games like this. Now it's the time to really go, okay, we've got to put in a real shift here and get a result. I thought they were poor before the international break. They scraped past Luton Town 1-0 at home, which in my eyes is barely a win. If you're beating Luton Town 1-0 at home, that's a draw. Let's be real about it, man. You can't be beating Luton Town 1-0 at home and celebrating like you won the Champions League. Let's be real about it. So I think they've got a lot to improve upon Manchester United, but the good thing for them is there's still a lot of time. There's time in the Premier League. It's only a third of it gone. It's a marathon, not a sprint. This race is not for the swift. United got a lot of ground to make up, yes, but not as much as people think. In terms of performances, they have a lot of ground to make up. But in terms of actual league position, they're 6, but 6 points off the top. It's not an awful lot. Not an awful lot whatsoever. But yeah, I appreciate everyone that's tuning into the stream today, guys. I won't be streaming tomorrow because I don't really care about Fulham versus Wolves. But I will be streaming again in midweek for the Champions League. So if you're new around to make sure you do subscribe down below. My road to 5,000 subscribers. Please do let me know your thoughts in the comment section as well. I'd love to hear if you're watching this now that it's stopped becoming a stream. It is now a video on this channel. And also, make sure you hit the notification button so you never miss a future stream. And if you just tuned in right now, scroll right back to the start of my streams. You can hear all about my thoughts on Everton 0, Manchester United 3, an absolutely superb goal by Alejandro Garnacho. Up my football and take care.